Hi, guys. Hi, guys. Good to see everyone. So, today is a pretty boring, I would say, news day for Ukraine, which I could not be happier because that means that, I don't have to worry as much. And what comes to my mind is, that movie that came out that's like the anti war movie. That was called like It's Been Quiet on the Western Front or something like that. So one of the things that I wanted to call this news stream today is It's Been Quiet on Ukraine Front, but then I figured no one's gonna click into it. Hi Joe, hi DBZ, hi Kat, hi Prexis, hi Veronica, hi Gap, hi Juju, hi Cody, hi Nana, hi Drake, hi Kathleen, hi Kareen. Hi, Peter. Also, everybody who is on TikTok, I'd like to let you know that this is my backup account. And if you recently followed me, then please consider following my actual account, which is the same thing without it. Also, please, please, please like this news stream. It really helps a lot because it helps spread it to people. Hi, Natabot. Oh my gosh, good to see you. How have you been? So it's been kind of quiet on Ukraine front today. However, it has not been quiet on the front of. It has not been quiet on the front of just Russia. So they have a couple of things on fire today, including a large shopping center in Moscow. Then I also want to talk about Brittany Griner and her exchange for Victor Bout. I do want to discuss that. I know there were a lot of questions. There were a lot of questions yesterday on that matter, and I didn't necessarily elaborate on it because I kind of was like waiting a little bit. I wanted to feel out the situation because my initial thoughts were my initial thoughts, but I kind of wanted to sort of mull this over a little bit, find out a little more. Thank you so much, 300 Live. Hello. Hi. Oh, Karine, you did so well with your Ukrainian. Carolyn, Taz, hello. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Dub Alexander, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you, 300 Life. Thank you, everybody. But I think that Kathleen says, I'm sorry, but I think that EC. I'm sure that your message just got cut off, so I'm going to wait for the next one because I'm not quite sure what you mean. So what do I get for Pup Tamer Redemption? Oh my gosh. So there is heard something on VOD. So there is I believe there is an emoji that comes with Pup Redemption, and there is like oh my gosh, like a little icon thing. If it doesn't automatically update, then do you mind if I just whisper you after the stream? Because I myself was finding out when I was putting these in how to do it. So I just need to refresh my knowledge because I did the pup thing like a while ago. Hi, Todd. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. Good to see you. For everyone here who is new, let me just catch you up to speed a little bit. Hi, my name is Yulia. I was born and raised in Lviv, Ukraine, and I have been living in New York City for the past 12 years. I moved here at the age 16. Yes, I'm 28 now. I know I look so good. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I always get people who either think I'm like in my late 30s or people who are like, you're not 18. So I just figured I'd be a little cheeky about this. But yeah, so I've been living here for the past 12 years in New York City. My parents live in Ukraine. My grandparents live in Ukraine. My aunt lives in Ukraine. Everybody but me lives in Ukraine. I'm the only person out of my family who lives in the United States. Every day on this channel, we do news about Ukraine. We break them down, we dissect them, we give them context, political, geopolitical, historical, and otherwise. This stream is simultaneously being cast on 4 platforms, which is TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter for now. And I always say for now because we never know what's going to happen to that social media platform. If you prefer any one, of these networks more than the other, then you are welcome to switch between them. I would really, really, really highly recommend you follow my YouTube because A, it has all of the news streams saved if you miss them. B, there are twice a week news briefs, which is news for the past 24 hours and highlights of the week in under 20 minutes. And there are interviews with Ukrainian defenders on there too. So YouTube is very cool. And please try to subscribe. And my YouTube is the same as every other one of my channels, but TikTok, because this is my backup TikTok account and it's, and my YouTube is the same as this, but without it. So just Yulia. So yeah, so there is that. Hi, Sherry. So Kathleen on YouTube says that exchange is so wrong. There is an American Marine that has been sitting in Russian jail for 4 years. So so basically there was a breakdown that Malcontent did on this. And apparently, here's the thing. Brittany Griner was completely and totally innocent. And she, her arrest was a complete fabrication on charges that shouldn't have existed. And she didn't do absolutely anything wrong. While the Marine was dishonorably discharged and there was a situation for which he is in prison, preliminary information again. So the reason why they exchanged Brittany Griner, not the Marine, is because she was completely and totally innocent, did not do anything wrong. And the reason why she ended up in Russia to begin with is because WNBA exploits their their athletes. Heroyam Slava. So there is that. But I will elaborate a little more on this. I also, I wanted to know how I feel about the exchange for particularly Victor fella. So we will get to that a little later in the news stream. Also, let me remind you that I do this full time, and while I'm not complaining at all, and you are not obligated to do anything. Oh my gosh, Karine, thank you so much. Oh my God, Karine, that is incredibly kind of you, and I really appreciate it. Well, what I was gonna say is that you're welcome to send that all of your super stickers, super chats, and gifts are incredibly appreciated, and they go a very long way. Now there is an ability to sign up for YouTube on a membership, and you will have new stickers in chat like Cinnies and Zelenskys and Yees and stuff like that. And all of these just expand, could expand your ability to, just have fun in chat. And there will be behind the scenes moments on TikTok, on YouTube as well, and on TikTok. Well, not on this account, but on the other one, you also can sign up for the subscription feature. And here there are, little gifts and super chats and all of these things, and they're very highly appreciated, albeit not expected. But did want to put that out there. Okay, thank you very much. So, first of all, hi. Taz says, yeah, I'm a member on YouTube, but I'm still sitting here on Twitch. That's funny. Well, on Twitch, you too, I think, have Cinnies and stuff like that. So yeah. So yes. Do you know when they will lift the ban on other account? They will lift the ban on the 11th at like 4 p.m. or something like that. Also, Karine, thank you so much. I keep seeing the super sticker, and like that is so nice of you. And I did the same thing. No new emojis unlocked. Oh. Well, I'm gonna look into that. So Grumpy, if you can remind me about looking into the pup tamer thing, I will check on it. Okay. Okay. Um, so today is a pretty condensed news stream. Today is a pretty condensed news stream, and it's condensed in terms of like the volume of information, but there are a lot of videos, so there is a lot of like visual footage. We're also going to, so I guess I'm gonna like run through what we're gonna talk today. We're gonna talk today about all of the fires that are happening in Russia. We're going to touch upon Bakhmut because Bakhmut is very quickly and very swiftly becoming the new Mariupol. We're going to talk a little bit about the international community expressing their thoughts on the war, and on negotiations with Putin. We're going to talk a little bit about, the general madness that is Putin and his speeches. We're going to talk a little bit about the Indian Prime Minister completely ignoring Putin. And we are also going to talk about Brittany Griner and the exchange. There are a couple more topics that we're going to discuss. There is also a new aid package that is coming from the US to Ukraine that Biden just announced. There is enough to talk about, but normally I think that there are just so many different events, and I think there was such an events-packed day the other day with the Wednesday brief that it's quite, it's quite, I guess, it's quite oh my gosh, I like that. It's quite oh my god, Yulia forgot how to speak. But what I'm trying to say in the past like 30 sentences now is that it's quieted down a little bit. Also, I think that a lot of the news sources right now are focused on the coup investigation in Germany. Probably a lot of the countries are trying to investigate if nothing similar is happening within their borders, because as we know, there is suspicion that Russia was involved in that, or at least that the people who were trying to do the coup, to accomplish the coup, were definitely we're definitely trying to reach out to the Russian government and Russian authorities. So there is that. And I think that the reason why it's kind of quieter is the weather is really bad. And so there is very little progress on the counteroffensive map. Also, again, there is a lot of stuff happening in Europe. So, we are taking a little bit of a backseat. What was I going to say? I was going to say, me saying, oh, this quiet reminded me of this really funny thing. As you guys know, my husband is now the editor and the videographer behind my channel, and he has been helping me with briefs. So he didn't fully take them over yet, but he still has to fix the lighting for me because, no matter how many times I try, I don't know how to like properly manipulate the light, and something's always off. But anyways, there's still a long ways to go, but he has been at least editing the transitions. He has been cutting the videos. He has been like suggesting what to cut out, like certain things like that. And so if I'm filming the Wednesday and Sunday brief segments, by the time I get to like the last updates in the last 24 hours, I am tired. Thank you, Subi. I'm like incredibly tired. And so I start tripping over my own sentences, right? So like, let's say if in the beginning, I can speak pretty uninterrupted and I can just be like, well, today the SBU Security Bureau of Ukraine has conducted a couple of raids on different churches in different regions because those churches are under Russian patriarchy and Russian patriarchy, whatever. So by the end of the news stream, this is what happens. I start saying, SBU, the Security Bureau of Ukraine, and like basically I trip up like that 5 times a sentence, and 5 times a sentence, and then I don't restart the sentence. I just restart from the part where I tripped up. And so the only thing that I think about every time that I trip up now is just John sitting there in front of the computer being like, please tell me, God, you restarted it from the beginning of the sentence. And then I don't. And he's like, My God, Yulia, can you just say one single sentence in its entirety? Because he's like showing me, like the cuts of this, the cuts of the video, and like in the beginning, it's like cut, 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 and then by the end of the video, it's like cut, 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 cut. Because I just, it's been like an hour and a half that I've been doing this, and I'm just exhausted. And so yeah, now that I was tripping on the words, I was just remembering, you know what? I think I actually have he's gonna kill me for this, but thank God he rarely watches my videos because he just edits them and has to stare at them all the time. Plus, today is his birthday, and on this birthday this year, he decided that he wants to be left alone and he will turn off his phone and he wants to spend a day reflecting. So he's definitely not on YouTube. At least I hope he's not. And I hope he's doing what he wanted to be doing. But I think I have like a little video. I just want to see if there is here. Well, actually, I'm going to show you a picture. This is a picture. And this is like, I just want you to pay attention to the face here. Like he looks so happy to be editing this video. He looks exhilarated, So I just wanted to show you a little bit of the behind the scenes of this very, very lovely, incredibly supportive man who is just fully and completely who's just fully and completely absolutely helpful and so good, and just dying because of the amount of work that he has to do for my channel. Yeah, I will tell him that all of you said happy birthday. Thank you so much, guys. That's very sweet of you. He is we are now the same age. I find it incredibly upsetting that I am a full of 4 months older than him. My dad is a month younger than my mom, not even. And he was always so like funny mean about it because she would turn 40 and he'd be like, well, I'm still 39. And so that's kind of how I feel. I'm like, you have 4 months of being a year younger. And I really, really, really not appreciate that. That's just not fun. It's not fun at all. Not fun at all. But yeah. Okay, well, now that we've covered the topic of birthdays, let's get into the news. Oi. I would also like to point out, and you're not going to see this on YouTube because I'm just not going to like lift my leg that high, but I'm wearing Chornobayevka socks today. Chornobayevka is the airport. Happy birthday, Juan. Chornobayevka is the airport near Kherson where Ukrainian troops destroyed Russian offensives every single time that they brought in their reinforcements, because even though it was a temporarily occupied region, Ukrainians were still destroying them every single time that they would bring their equipment to that area. So, I'm representing Chornobayevka over here. Привіт, дякую. Вітання з України. Вам також вітання. Привіт. So here is, what am I going to say? Oh my gosh. So, okay. We're going to start pretty strong with a couple of videos. One is a Ukrainian soldier who is reviewing a Russian med kit. And I know that all of us are very interested in seeing this. I, for one, absolutely love these like little, unboxings of Russian, like state-sponsored, state-given kind of like military gear, because it's always just, there is like, oh, this is bad, they don't have a budget, right? And then this is just ridiculous. How does this exist? Oh my gosh, thank you, Netlin. This is just ridiculous. How does it exist? And I feel like anything that is state given out to Russian, I'm baffled. I'm baffled. Every time I'm baffled as if like this is unexpected because it's just so bad and it somehow continuously keeps getting worse. And I don't understand how that's possible. But it is what it is. Let me send myself both of the videos that I want to show you. I am going to preface the next video before I like show it to you. Actually, there are 3 in a row, so let me just download all of them so I don't have to do this later multiple times, and I can just, you know, show them one by one. One of them, very bittersweet because it's a wounded Ukrainian soldier and him being, oh my God, oh, that's so cute. Oh my God, thank you, Natlin. Okay, so sometimes TikTok releases these new animations for gifts and they're so god darn adorable. They're so adorable. And there's this one with like an astronaut and it was so cute. So I'm really sorry for Ing, but it's so, so cute. There is another one with the astronaut, but that one is like significantly more expensive, even though it looks very cute. But so I am going to show you this video, and the video is the review of the Russian medkit. So buckle up and enjoy. Boom.
Небольшой обзор русской аптечки для мобилизованных. Хозяин аптечки не может поддержать беседу, предположительно ввиду собственной смерти.
Так как он находится, вон он лежит,
Вот.
пидорас.
Ну, собственно говоря, аптечка представляет собой что-то похожее на израильский бандаж, типа косынки.
Но это не израильский бандаж.
Это не израильский бандаж. Вот такой вот альтернативный жгут. Не турникет, жгут, как в 41-м. И
это, памятка.
со всякими советами.
Укажи себе помощь.
Да.
Окажи себе помощь.
Сакцентировать внимание, что партия выпущена, производитель какой-то там, Санкт-Петербург, 22 год. То есть это вот аптечки, выпущенные именно для мобилизованных. И они вот настолько как бы нищебродские, скажем так.
Мобики, радуйтесь.
Как-то вот так вот.
Нормально, да?
Okay, so this is the gear that Russian heroes who are, you know, protecting Russia somehow on the territory of Ukraine get sent with to the front line. So Vasily just texted me that he can't open the front door, so let me go grab him. I'm sorry, guys. I need a brief pause because I just need to let him in home because he's not, you know, he can't get in home. So give me 1 second and I shall be back. 1 sec. Sorry. In the meanwhile, you know, you can share your impressions about the medkit. It was supposed like this. No, it was not. It was not closed. It was literally like this. Okay, I'm so sorry. Yes, right. Okay, hello, sorry. My mom sent me a package and Vasil brought it up and he's home and he got in. We have like one of those new kind of doors, not new kind of doors, but like, so basically at some point way back when, I'm going to try to explain it as fast as possible so I don't have to like bore you with the details. But we have, my door is basically like one of those fingerprint access doors. And I also have a deadbolt. And both of these things are controlled through an app and through like a fob The reason why I did that is because at some point I locked myself out of my apartment and I opened both of my locks with a credit card. My husband used to work in real estate, and so when I locked myself out and no one was home, I called him and I was like, what would you do? And he's like, I would try it with a credit card. And I was like, dude, no self-respecting door is going to open if you just use a credit card. And he's like, just try it. We live in Brooklyn. The door opened. The door opened with a credit card. And I was like, Amazon it is. We're changing the locks. So I changed the locks. And basically sometimes when it's really cold, the door can't read your fingerprint. But it's like, you know, if you're like not put it, like basically if you like put it skewed or something like that. But basically, Vasil kind of like kept trying the fingerprint. It kept not working. And then the door was like, system is locked, because for 5 minutes, it's just not going to let you put in the fingerprint because it thinks you're trying to break in. And so he couldn't get in. But yeah, but that's much better than being able to open it with a credit card. Also, I wonder what my mom has sent me because look at it. See, you know when I say that my post office is like the worst post office on the planet? Look how beautiful that is. Look how pretty. Look at this box. They really, you know. Oh my gosh, the whale. Oh, thank you so much, Natlin. You guys are so sweet. But oh my gosh. I'm very curious what's going on here. I really hope that nothing fell out of here. But like, yeah, my post office is, thank you, Natlin. Yeah, I wonder if they did play soccer with it because it looks fantastic. Yeah, it does look run over, doesn't it? It looks like they... Okay, so... Oh my gosh, this says, soon I'm gonna hug you at home. Oh my God. And it's from my mom. So yeah, it says, skoro я тебя обійму вдома. And that says, soon I'm gonna hug you at home. And that's so cute, except I wish that USPS didn't like chew it up and spit it out, because that's so nice of them. Ooh. Oh my God, guys, new magnets. Look at these. These are so cool. So these are new magnets. I have a full wall of Ukraine-related magnets from Ukrposhta. I'm honestly a fan, and I'm collecting them. This series is called We Believe in Armed Forces of Ukraine. And these are so cool. I wonder if there are any repetitive ones. Huh. But this is so cool. It's like every branch of... It's every branch of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Oh, yeah, that's so cool. My mom and my dad always get these. Always get me every like, you know, every one of these things that comes out. Also, ooh, envelopes. Yeah, so I've become a collector of these Ukrposhta things. I'm so into them, and I love it so much that my parents send me those. It's so sweet. Oh my God, this is the Crimea Bridge one, the Crimea Bridge release. Oh, that's so cute. The postcards. Oh man. I'm actually planning a second round of postcards sending to you guys for Patreon and YouTube subscriptions. I just don't know if YouTube requires your address for subscription, so I don't know if I have your addresses if you're just on YouTube. But if I don't, then I'm just going to message you to find them out. And then there are these two. And I wonder... Oh my gosh! More Crimea Bridge. More Crimea Bridge. And the interesting thing is, I think I have one of these already. So if I check and it turns out that I have one of these already, you guys know what's going to happen. You guys know what's going to happen. And I know I'm like the worst person at sending mail. And trust me, It's gonna get to you eventually. I'm just very sorry about the speeds of me sending mail, because unfortunately there isn't like a normal post office. Like my post office next to my house literally somehow manages to do this to all packages, and most of the times that I send them through that post office, they don't come. Like, I'll give you an example of how great my local post office is. The other day I ordered something from a store, and then so basically I ordered something from a brand, and then the next day I ordered another thing because it was like Black Friday sales, and I always use these things, so I was like, might as well just like stock up on them, right? So I submitted 2 separate orders. They were on the same USPS truck. I mean it, on the same USPS truck. One got delivered, one says delivered and then says forwarded, because either your zip code was wrong on your label or you submitted forwarding instructions. What do you freaking mean? These are 2 packages addressed to the same person from the same brand with the same label on the same USPS truck. And so now they're going to redeliver it on Monday because, oops, they made a mistake and there weren't actually any forwarding instructions. You don't say. Like, if you are a USPS worker and you look at 2 packages that are addressed to the same person, you leave one, you deliver one, and then you're like, you know what, this one might be readdressed. Anyways, so this is my post office. So that's the reason why I don't, oh, you guys. Oh, you guys. Okay. Okay, guys. I am 100,000,000,000% doing a giveaway of these stamps because we have more than one. And there might be 2 stamps up for giveaway. And there might be 1, depending on whether I have more of these or not. But good news is there's definitely going to be 1 of these things up for a giveaway. Fundraiser for Torque. Actually, great idea. Fantastic idea. I would love to do that. Also, guys, don't forget to comment and like the briefs when you watch them, because 25% of the profits from there are going to the armed forces of Ukraine. And the more you comment, the more you like, the more you interact with them, the further they go, the further YouTube pushes it, the more people see them. So this is also an interesting thing that my mom was telling me about. You know what, I'm not going to open it yet because I don't want to. Do you have Zelensky's stamp? I think so, maybe. My mom and my dad buy every stamp that comes out. But so this is like a little, it's made out of like little sequins, but it's very cute. It's a really, really, really cute little towel. But yeah, so when I say that I don't send things on time, it's because I really don't want to send them with my post office, because when I do, they get lost. And sometimes they just take like a month and a half or 2 or 3 months to get delivered. I've had some people message me that something that I've sent like 4 or 5 months ago just got to them. And so I'm only willing to send things out of the post office that's closer to Union Square, because that's like easy to get to on the train when I'm in the city. But I haven't left like my area for a very long time because of just based on how busy I've been. So I'll be going next week on Tuesday. I will be going to the post office, and I'm actually going to send out everything that's been on hold. So all of you should be getting everything that you haven't gotten yet, like within 5 days after I send it. That post office I've never had issues with. It gives me tracking numbers, no matter, like, even for the cheapest option of sending, it has a tracking number. Somehow my post office doesn't, and I've never had any issues with them. Meanwhile, my post office is guaranteed to have issues. So I just really don't want your stuff to like get lost. And someone says, I invite you to visit the orphanage with me. We will distribute gifts on Sunday. So on Sundays, I mean, which orphanage and where? And I would love to, but I don't know about Sunday, because Sunday is the day where I do most of my filming and most of my stuff. And unfortunately, I can't do it on any other day, because that's the day that my editor and husband has availability to do these things. But do let me know. Lviv. Oh, well, I'm not in Lviv. I'm in New York. But I'm from Lviv though, and I would love, 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 love to do that. I don't know how to do that, maybe through video or something like that, or maybe I can help you somehow talk about it or spread it, but I don't think I'll be, I mean, not I don't think, I can't visit myself because I'm not in Lviv currently, unfortunately. Okay, the next video that I'm gonna show you is a video of a Ukrainian defender, and he is singing songs about, well, he's singing Ukrainian, I believe it was Ukrainian national anthem while he's heavily wounded and he is being transported to the hospital, and you can tell that he's in a lot of pain, but he's persevering. This is the video that I want to show you next, and it's so bittersweet because on the one hand, it's really beautiful how his brothers in arms are supporting him, and on the other hand, it's so freaking sad that this is what's happening in Ukraine right now. But I do want to show you the camaraderie behind the armed forces of Ukraine.
Ой, у лузі червона калина похилилася. Чому ж наша слава Україна зажурилася? Ти ж таких прикольних красоток мені ще не було. Чорну калину підіймемо, а ми ту славну Україну, гей, гей, розвеселимо. Украинца, как надо выйти. Дед вообще красавелла. Женат, у меня будет скоро ребенок, и я умирать не собираюсь. Я Ксюшку люблю. Ебанутый не красиво. Да, спасибо, как мне больно.
So I'm going to translate for you what's going on here. So basically he says, you know, I'm married and I'm expecting a kid soon, so I'm not planning on dying. And it's like, you know, you can see that he's in severe pain, and you can see that he's like persevering through immense, like it must be immense pain, you know, and they're trying to transport him to the closest hospital. Let me see. For some reason, oh my gosh. Lately, I've been having such an issue with like, okay, whatever, you know what? You can see my back in the mirror. It's just what it is. But basically, you can see that he's persevering through immense pain, and you can see that it's so difficult, yet he's managing, because that's just what it is. And it's crazy, you know, it's crazy the attitude that these guys and girls have, because you can see exactly how painful it is. You can feel it for him. And he says, you know what? I have a child that's on the way. I have a wife. I have no plans of dying. And that's just, you know, that's what you need to know about Ukrainian spirit, and that's what you need to know about Ukrainian military and how they are, you know, how they're dealing with their injuries. Hi, Luann. Thank you so much, Crazy Cat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I will grab a hot chocolate. I actually really like peppermint hot chocolate. Also, Evelyn, you haven't missed what happened in Russia yet, because we haven't touched upon it too in depth yet. So I hope that he'll be okay as well. Honestly, I'm sure that he will be, because his brothers in arms are going to take a good care of him. I believe in that. And I believe that they're going to get him to the hospital. It looks like he's in good spirits. I think that something, that his injury is probably something with his leg, because it does look like, you know, he's fine torso up. And when the turbulence starts in the car and amortization is not enough, that's when you can see visibly that he is struggling to keep it together. So I do think it's something with his leg, and I think that hopefully everything is going to be okay. A married couple exploded in Zhytomyr region. According to preliminary information, their car hit a mine. 8 children, all minors, became orphans. Now they're under the supervision of their relatives. Ukraine right now is one of the most, if not the most, mined country in the entire world. In the beginning of the invasion, worldwide authorities were saying that it will take over 10 years to demine Kyiv region. Thank you, Lucy. Kherson region is times more mined than Kyiv region is. Can you imagine how long this is going to take? And how many more accidents like this are inevitably going to unfortunately happen? On a positive note, fire broke out in one of the industrial buildings in Barnaul, Russia. It happened on the territory of the Altai tire plant, Nortek. The fire area is about 1,000 square meters, according to local media. I'm going to show you this tire plant fire, and then I'm going to show you on a map where Barnaul is. It's pretty like deep in the middle of kind of nowhere, Russia. Barnaul is sort of like one of those places that you would joke that somebody would be sent off to if you don't like them, because it's just so far that you wouldn't see anybody really like traveling to Altai region for like no reason. But it's a huge fire. It's a 1,000 square meter fire. That is going to burn a while, especially provided that Russians are not very good at putting fires out, because, well, most of their qualified workers are mobilized. So I'm going to show you where Barnaul is. It's like way, way deep there in Russia, and it's near Kazakhstan. So this is Barnaul. Ukraine is that way. So this is like quite far out there. I would say that, so here's the thing. There have been fires in places like that in Russia, right? There have been fires on random tire stations, on random plastic warehouses, and like just randomly weird places like that, right? And you would think like, why? Who's trying to put that on fire? But what I think is, in a lot of these random middle of nowhere areas of Russia, I think a lot of these factories and a lot of these facilities are also ammo depots. I think they're like undercover ammo depots. Or they have been gosh, I forgot the word. Or they have been remade into ammo depots recently, because really there is not much reason to set like a tire factory on fire, right? So I would think that maybe it's either always been an ammo depot and a tire factory, or it had been converted into an ammo depot recently. So now to the most juicy part of fires in Russia. In Moscow, the Mega Khimki shopping center is on fire, and there have been explosions in it too. So I think that this is either something that Russians did to blame Ukrainians and be like, oh, look, Ukrainians are doing this, but it's civilian infrastructure. Ukrainians would never be targeting a shopping mall. There's no point in that. Russians, however, like to do stuff like that in order to blame the other side, to kind of get people's spirits up and rally them up against, the side that they are attacking, pretty much. So basically, here's what that looks like. The area of the fire is 7,000 square meters. And you could totally see that there were explosives in that shopping mall, which is, by the way, one of the biggest shopping malls in Moscow suburbs. So here, you can see that at some point, there's quite literally, there are explosions. So it's not like, a fire just broke out and that's it. Or there was like a bomb thrown on it. Like, no, I think there have been explosives in this shopping mall. And I'm not going to say anything because this is just speculation, but give it a second and you will see. Yeah, see, those are explosions. So there is here. I think you can see it better here. Yep. Those are explosions. Yeah. So this does not look like this does not look like it just caught on fire by accident and then these things happened. It does look like quite literally the entire parts of this facility were blown blown up and blown off by these explosions. So it doesn't, again, I do want to reiterate that this is just my opinion, but I think that it was intentional. And I think that it was a sabotage or a false flag from the Russian side because because there are multiple explosions in a row and they're in different parts. Like you could have seen, you saw that, right? Where like one thing exploded and then it was like a chain reaction from one side of this mall to the other side of this mall. So it does look like it was just mined through the perimeter. But we're going to wait, we're going to wait for the update on that. Also, after that, there has been the update on this shopping mall, and this is what remains of it. Basically nothing. Hi, Stephanie. Yeah, so basically this is just flat out leveled with the ground. Borscht is officially in UNESCO. Ukraine received the original certificate of inclusion of borscht in the UNESCO Intangible Heritage List. So this is obviously a very different kind of like mood of the news, and this is obviously like a very different thing to talk about, and we kind of shifted from one to another. Anya is asking if anyone was injured in the building. Well, no, it was in the middle of the night, but the security guard died. So there was one, so far it's been reported that there has been one casualty, one security guard, but there weren't people in the building. So no one was injured. But also looking at that explosion, if there was anyone in that shopping mall, they likely would not have made it out because it quite literally just, it combusted, The Kremlin-linked oligarchs Iskandar Mahmudov and Andrei Bakaryov continue to actively conduct business in Latvia. Thank you so much, Raspberry. Hi, good to see you. Hello. And Andrei Bakaryov continue to actively conduct business in Latvia, controlling companies in Riga both personally and through frontmen. In addition, they receive funding in the form of EU grants, the insider investigation. So here's the thing. There are quite a few Russian oligarchs and Russian high postulated people. Thank you, Radio. High postulated people that still kind of conduct business and avoid sanctions and fly under the radar. And because those people are not on the sanctions list. But we should not be allowing Russian oligarchs by any means to be conducting business in any European countries. Moreover, not to get like grants for their businesses, for the development of their businesses from the European governments. This is kind of like, I understand that it's hard to impose because there are loopholes and there are ways to go against the law and there are ways to like avoid the law and there are ways to sort of, fly under the radar, but we should not let them fly under the radar. We should call them out and we should really, really, really put a stop to that. Fake letters allegedly on behalf of the Consulate General of Ukraine in Dusseldorf with an offer to join the Foreign Legion in Ukraine for a monetary reward have started to be sent to German citizens, MFA spokesman Nikolenko. Thank you, Stephanie. So allegedly, there have been fake letters from the Ukrainian Consulate General being sent to German citizens to urge them to join the Foreign Legion from a Ukrainian consulate. So let me remind you, there have been attacks on Ukrainian consulates all throughout the last couple of weeks. In fact, 35 different threats have been received by various Ukrainian consulates in different countries. And now in Germany, there are fake letters being sent from the Ukrainian consulate. Also, I find it so funny because this is like really horrible looking graphic design. And as you might have seen, Ukraine actually, our government structures design is really good. And as a graphic designer, I can say that this looks like a kid trying to fake like an excuse letter to not come to school from their parents and doing it like with really bad Photoshop. This does not look like an official letter from Ukraine. Also, like proportions of everything, like this is so big. This would have never been this big. Also, we have like official letter stamps and we have official like, this was like made in Microsoft Word. Like we have branding for our official documents because Ukraine has actually a pretty like Ukraine is one of the leading countries in Europe in IT and tech and like design industries, right? So it'd be really, really sad if we had digital passports, digital IDs, digital currency, digital birth certificates, and then that was the letter from our consulate general. Yeah. As a Ukrainian, I'd look at this and be like, what is this? US prepares another $275 million military aid package for Ukraine, according to Reuters. It may include anti-drone and air defense equipment. The Pentagon is also expected to provide Ukraine with HIMARS missiles, 155mm ammunition, Humvee military vehicles, and generators. Thank you, Stephanie. Also, my mom told me it looked so fake. Yeah, exactly. It does. That's the thing. It looks... it looks like the letters I wrote for my diary in early 2000s, and I downloaded some bad fonts for Microsoft Word that weren't even licensed. Also, all of the correspondence from the Ukrainian government is done with the same font that was developed by Ukrainians. And it's like, again, we are very big on all things Ukrainian. So all of our official fonts are developed by Ukrainian designers, like the font for DIA and the font for other programs, like they are all Mono and stuff like that. All of these programs use Ukrainian developed fonts. And you can very easily tell if something official, if something government related has horrible graphic design, it is a fake, because most of our government institutions now have pretty decent branding. Also, Doug says military equipment needs tires. Yes, it does, but also I would say that it would be unlikely that something that only produces tires would be set on fire. I would think that it would have to have some sort of other reasons as tied to it as well. And also, usually when it's like remote regions of Russia, it's easier to hide production of some more critical things. NATObot, good night. And also to someone who says, can I speak Ukrainian? Well, my entire audience speaks English, and I do these lives for English-speaking audience. So, на жаль, я розмовляю англійською мовою на цьому каналі. So yeah. In the morning, Russians shelled a medical institution in Kherson. They hit the hospital building in there. The shells damaged the children's department and the morgue. Fortunately, no one was injured, said the head of Kherson Regional State Administration, Yaroslav Yanushevich. So yeah, I've said this before, and I will say it many more times. Russians who said that they liberated Kherson because people in Kherson so wanted to be a part of Russia. The second that they have been pushed out from Kherson by Ukrainian army, they have been shelling it incessantly and unstoppably since that day. The people that they so much love, the people that they so much respect, the people that they came to liberate from evil Ukrainians, because, Russia loves and needs them. Ambassador of Ukraine to Estonia says Estonia handed over 11 more buses with the generators and power equipments to Ukrainian cities. Ukrainians working underground during the massive missile attack. We always say this is the country that Russians tried to invade, but this is the country that Russians tried to invade. There is an air raid and a massive missile attack going on, and these are the people in the subway working, doing their job. during a large-scale missile attack. Approximately 30% of Ukraine's territory is contaminated with explosives. The territory of the contaminated part of Ukraine today is 4 Switzerlands. This is very demonstrative and clearly shows the real situation we are working with. We set a very ambitious goal that we will be able to clean all these territories within 10 years. It seems a lot, but it is not enough for this kind of work. The main thing we are working on today is to strengthen our ability to move at such a pace, said Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Ukraine, Mary Huckabyan. According to the Ministry of Internal Affairs, since February 24th, the State Emergency Service has defused 30,000 explosive devices. The National Police has seized 150,000 and defused 24,000. Take a look. The price of Russia's main crude oil, Urals, which accounts for 60% of exports, fell to $43.72 per barrel, according to Bloomberg. That is still very generous. Zelensky says Russia fired 62% of missiles at civilian objects of Ukraine. Here's an interview with Karaya. It's a story about him, and he's the pilot who took down 5 Shahed drones over Vinnytsia, and I posted about him in the community tab on YouTube. And also, you guys have seen the photo, definitely, where he had I don't want to demise some liquid around his face as he ejected from his airplane. Down 5 Shahed drones over a densely populated area, and then he took the aircraft away from the densely populated area before ejecting. So he put the people before his own self, which is what you're supposed to do. So I'm going to show you an interview with him. Okay, present video file. There we go.
День знищив аж 5 шахідів, так?
Мій ранок почався о 4-й годині, подали сигнал повітря. Один льотчик знищив також 2 шахідів на півдні України. Наступним пішов я, також знищив 3, виконав посадку на оперативному аеродромі без наслідків. Далі був робочий день по іншим задачам, і ввечері знову ця навала почалась, і виконав зліт з оперативного аеродрому на півдні України, і далі вже виконував знищення повітряних цілей над небом Вінниччини.
5-та ціль, яка стала фатальною, на щастя, не для тебе, так?
А на жаль,
для літака.
Так.
Розкажи, що сталося?
Виконав наведення та перехоплення 5-ї повітряної цілі, виконав пуск по даній повітряній цілі. І, на жаль, після знищення даної цілі уламками вибуху був пошкоджено моє повітряне судно. Відбулось руйнування ліхтаря, це скло кабіни, простою мовою, та руйнування передньої частини носової літака. Не сильно поранений, але все-таки...
були порізи.
Так, кров заважала оцінити повноцінну обстановку. Перша думка, так не хочеться катапультуватись. По курсу побачив, що якийсь населений пункт. На той момент я не знав, що це за населений пункт був. Бачив лише попереду вогні. Перевірив керування літака в повздовжньому каналі. На себе від себе він був вже, на жаль, не керований. В поперечному каналі вліво-вправо він керувався. Тому створив лівий крен зі зниженням і побачив перед собою чорну ділянку. Я встановив, що це, ймовірно, поле, що нічого немає. Далі вже почалась пожежа безпосередньо всередині кабіни літака. І коли язики полум'я почали вже...
добиратись до тебе?
Так, до мене. Я здійснив катапультування без зволікань, як вчила книжка.
Ти катапультувався. Я знаю, що ти знімав себе під час польоту. Така зухвалість військового льотчика просто вражає. Ти дивився начебто в обличчя смерті. Буквально кілька хвилин тому, так? І тут ти береш, дістаєш телефон і робиш собі селфі з пальцем з закривавленим обличчям і даєш якийсь посил ворогу таким фото.
По-перше, я дістав телефон, щоб впевнитись і оцінити обстановку стосовно стану мого здоров'я і спрогнозувати подальші свої дії після приземлення, яку медичну допомогу мені першочергово надати собі.
Тобто ти використав як дзеркальце?
Так, звичайно, як дзеркало. Вимкнув, потім згадав хлопців, тому що постійно у нас літак зникає з радарів, всі починають хвилюватись до моменту, коли льотчик не вийде на зв'язок. І тому вирішив зробити це фото, що все добре, нас не зламати і таким чином підбадьорити наших хлопців.
So yeah, this is the interview with Karaya, who took down enemy Shahed drones over Luhansk, over Vinnytsia, sorry. The reason why I said Luhansk is because there is a Russian bot who says that Ukraine has been bombing Luhansk since 2014. And Karamelka Sweet. So I would like to let you know that no one here is buying your Russian BS. No one here is buying the fact that Ukraine has been bombing anything. Also, if you were to read a little bit about Ukraine or you actually lived in Luhansk, one of the things that you would know is that most of the ammo bases from Ukraine were actually in Luhansk and Donetsk areas. That's why Russians also really wanted them so badly. So a lot of the ammunition was taken over by the LNR DPR pseudo-republic soldiers, and Ukraine didn't have those. Also, Ukraine couldn't have bombed neither Donetsk nor Luhansk because we didn't have aviation at that point, okay? Also, we didn't have any systems with which to bomb any of these places, okay? Also, it has been at this point internationally proven that Russia seized control over the separatist forces and that it was an invasion of Russia into Ukraine. An invasion of Russia into Ukraine. I don't know what you think you are. I don't know who you think I am, but I'm Ukrainian, and I know, I'm actually Ukrainian, unlike you. Because you are quite literally a bot. But I don't know who you think is going to believe in your BS on this channel, but no one will. Now, I'm going to politely ask my mods to remove you because it's been 9 months of this invasion, and the fact that you and your whatever it is that you are trying to propagate here, whatever you're trying to propagate here, whoever your troll farm is, and whatever they've been telling you to say, after 9 months, you could have come up with a better narrative that's not as easy to disprove. But go off. Anyways, I don't want to waste my time on bots. And also, here's the thing. Again, for those of you who might be Westerners and who might be unaware, Ukraine did not have capacity in 2014 or 2015 because we did not have aviation, nor did we have the means to do so. Our military was quite literally garbage. That's why, volunteers picked up arms and went to protect their cities. So there is that. Anyways, China and Saudi Arabia support peaceful settlement of the conflict in Ukraine and called to take all measures to reduce escalation. This is stated in a joint statement following the summit of the leaders of China and Saudi Arabia. That's so interesting because, these countries are flip-flopping all the time, and we do know that they have their own interests in mind, and obviously they're going to continue flip-flopping because they're not interested in helping Ukraine. They're interested in their own sort of narrative. They also really don't want to kind of follow what the West is doing, so obviously they're not going to completely endorse Russia and Russian narratives because they see that Russia has been taken down as the world superpower. But at the same time, they will not be sort of calling on, disarming Russia, and they will not be calling on getting Russia out of Ukraine. They're going to be calling on the ambiguous peace because, of course, neither Saudi Arabia nor China are going to want to side with Ukraine in the West for political reasons. This one's interesting, and that has to do with BRICS. So BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. It's a union of trade. India's prime minister refused to meet Putin over nuclear threats to Ukraine, according to Bloomberg. This is what it looked like. If any of you have played Sims at any point in your life, you know that noise. So the noise is the noise of an accident. But yeah, so the publication noted that this would be only the second time that the leaders of India and Russia have not met face to face since 2000. When the relations between the two countries were transferred to the category of strategic partnership. The summit, which is usually held in December, was canceled only once in 2020 at the height of the pandemic. Bloomberg sources indicated the cancellation of the summit does not mean a deterioration in relations between New Delhi and Moscow. However, they said Narendra Modi believes that a meeting with the Russian president now will not bring him benefits. You know, this statement is contradicting in itself. Because what do you mean? Like, the PM says, oh, this meeting is not going to bring me any benefits. But that doesn't mean that the relationship between Russia and India are deteriorating. How are they not deteriorating if the prime minister of India doesn't see the point of meeting the president of Russia and quite literally just refuses to meet with him? Of course, the relationship deteriorated because he would have done it. He would have met with the president of Russia earlier in this world's existence. He would have met with the president of Russia out of respect, even if he didn't want to. Here, he's just not even bothering. Can you speak Ukrainian? Так, я розмовляю українською з України. Also, for those of you who are new, hi, my name is Yulia. I was born and raised in Lviv, Ukraine. I've been living in New York for the past 12 years. I moved here when I was 16 years old for education, and I've been living here ever since. My parents live in Lviv. My grandparents live in Lviv. My entire immediate family lives in Lviv. On this channel, every day we do a newscast from an hour to 2 hours long, and we dissect, discuss, and basically talk about everything that happened in and pertaining to Ukraine in the past 24 hours, and we give it context, geopolitical, political, historical, and otherwise. This stream is cast on 4 platforms simultaneously. That is TikTok, YouTube, which I highly recommend you follow, Twitch, and for now, Twitter. All of my social media is under the same handle except for TikTok because this is my backup account. My main account has been, suspended from live for a little bit because Russian trolls love me, as you can see. So my account is basically the same. Oh, thank you so much, Raspberry. So my normal account is basically the same as this, but without its. So it's just YEWLEEA. So if you guys would like to follow me on YouTube, please do so. You would be very welcome to, and I would be incredibly grateful. It's YEWLEEA. So the same thing as this, but the same handle as you see on TikTok, the same handle as you see everywhere else. And on TikTok, it's the same handle, but without its. And on YouTube, you will find recordings of all of my news streams in case you miss one. You will also find twice weekly video, short, brief video summaries of everything that happened in the week so far and everything that happened in the past 24 hours. You will find interviews with Ukrainian defenders dubbed with an English voiceover, and also you'll be finding some new segments coming soon. Also, your critique of the news briefs is very welcome because it's a new segment and we are working on it and we're trying to make it as easy to watch for you as possible. Okay, Latvia has, so this, hi Ireland. So this is actually very interesting because this is drama that has been ongoing for so long. Oh my gosh. So Latvia has banned the entry of former Dozhd TV presenter Alexei Krastelev, who said on air that his channel managed to help the Russian military. So if you remember, Rain TV or Dozhd their license has been suspended. They have said on air that they were helping the Russian military and that they hope they were helping the Russian military. And so then their main presenter was fired by the TV channel. Then the TV channel's owner actually rehired him. Then they appealed the decision of Latvia to revoke their license in Europe. Then they showed up to court and demanded that the meeting would be held in Russian, as they didn't bring an interpreter, nor were they trying to get one. So they were demanding Latvia to speak Russian to them at a court. Also, thank you, Raspberry, so much again. And so basically now that presenter on TV who said that he hoped that their activities have helped the Russian military has been banned entry to Latvia. German company Rheinmetall has signed a contract for the production of 2 Skynex anti-aircraft missile systems worth 182 million euros. According to Handelsblatt, Ukraine will receive these systems. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom announced that in the coming weeks, his country will transfer new anti-aircraft weapons and short-range missiles for air defense to Ukraine. Biden announces new $275 million military aid package for Ukraine. The aid package will include ammunition for HIMARS, 155 millimeter ammunition, HMMWV vehicles, air defense equipment, equipment for countering UAVs, and generators. More detailed information is going to follow. Norway allocates 1 billion kroner, which is $100 million, to restore infrastructure in Ukraine, Norwegian government said. So far, the head of the World Bank basically estimated that it's going to take $500 billion or €500 billion to restore Ukraine. So that is a significant contribution into the restoration of Ukraine. Also, someone's asking me if I hate Russians. I don't care for Russians. I just really hope that Russians never bother me ever in my life, and that I don't have to deal with them. So no, I don't hate Russians. I just don't want to ever see them in my life, and I just prefer to. I want Russians to leave me alone. That's all it is. I really don't want to have to interact with Russians, and maybe that'll change one day in the very distant future. But because of all of the interactions that I have with Russians on this channel, because of all of the interactions I've had with Russians in my life, mostly they were incredibly negative and incredibly patronizing and condescending in their behalf. And I just really would like to spare myself from ever having to experience the Russian world. The occupiers have actually destroyed Bakhmut, another city of Donbass, which the Russian army turned into scorched ruins. Zelensky said during a video address. According to him, now the most difficult situation is at the front near Bakhmut, Soledar, Mariinka, and Kreminna. So this is what Bakhmut looks like. I showed you a video the other day of aerial view of Bakhmut. And it's basically swiftly turning into another Mariupol. And what I do want to point out is that Mariupol is also Donetsk Oblast, Donetsk region. During the inspection of the Kherson Diocese of the UOC, Ukrainian Orthodox Church, Mosque of Patriarchate, law enforcement officers found a flag, a golden emblem of Russia, propaganda materials, and a rifle without permits. SBU, Security Bureau of Ukraine, starts checking several priests who are likely to be in contact with citizens of Russia and Belarus. So if you are not caught up in the situation, Russian Patriarchy is basically like a branch of the Orthodox Church. It's not really Ukrainian Orthodox Church. It's just Russian Orthodox Church taking over Ukrainian Orthodox Church. Someone says, I'm Russian, ha 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 ha. Yeah, I wouldn't laugh at that. I mean, it is kind of laughable, but I also wouldn't laugh at that, you know? There is nothing to be happy about. Nothing. Anyways, so basically it's a propaganda machine that Russia uses, sort of like a cult that preaches genocide against Ukrainians, that also preaches that Ukraine doesn't exist, that preaches that Russia is the founding country and matriarchy of all of the world, and that preaches that everybody who has ever spoken Russian has to adhere to Russian world, and if they don't, they need to be annihilated. So there is that. Привет, Zaporizhzhia. An explosion occurred in a residential building in Ryazan, Russia. People remain under the rubble. What is the reason? The explosion was caused by a moonshine still, and this is not a joke. So basically, there was a moonshine distillery, and it exploded in Ryazan. And yeah, and Ryazan is also, I will show you where that is on the map. It's also kind of like pretty deep in there in Russia. It's not quite Barnaul, but one sec. Ryazan. Okay. Well, actually, no, I was wrong. Ryazan is right near Moscow. Wow. Okay. Ну, якщо ви з України, то я вам не іноземка. Якщо ви з Росії, то я вам таки іноземка. So yeah. So basically, it's right near Moscow. You know what? I confused Kazan and Ryazan. So yeah. Morocco will provide Ukraine with spare parts for T-72 tanks. This is the first time that a country in Africa provides military assistance to the Ukrainian side. It is worth nothing that Morocco participates in meetings of defense ministers. It is worth noting that Morocco participates in meetings of defense ministers in the Ramstein format. Actually, this is big. I do want to tell you something very, very, very interesting. So Morocco earlier was completely supporting Russia, at least by the fact that, do you remember Sadoun Brahim? He was one of the foreigners who was detained in Russia and who was sentenced to capital punishment in the court of DPR. So while the two Brits with him were severely advocated for by the UK, he was not advocated for by Morocco, and most Moroccan people within the country actually told his sister that they don't support him and he should die because he supports the Nazis. So the Moroccan government also was completely like not trying to help Ukraine, was sort of like Russia sympathizing and on the Russian side. And the fact that Morocco now is supporting Ukraine is really big. And they're not just supporting Ukraine on words, they're providing Ukraine with spare parts for T-72 tanks. That's big compared to like 5 months ago when they were taking Russia's side and when they were saying that their own citizen, they weren't advocating for their own citizen because he was serving in the armed forces of Ukraine. That is a huge change. Poland intends to deploy new K2 tanks on the border with Kaliningrad, Russia. It's that little city. I'll show it to you in a second. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki says, all neighbors of Russia are aware of the threat posed by this neighborhood. We want to have such a strong army that no one would think of attacking Poland. So basically, Kaliningrad is this little, like, it's kind of like, think of it as sort of the same situation as Alaska to the United States, where it's not territorially connected to mainland. So it's not nearly as big as Alaska, obviously, but it's so it's over here. It used to be Königsberg, and it used to be a German territory. It's right here. It's in between Lithuania and Poland, and it used to be basically territory of Germany, and it was called Königsberg. And Germany lost it to Russia in World War II because Russia at that point, Russia inherited the territory from Germany because of German defeat in World War II, but also Russia had occupied it by then anyway, so that's why Russia ended up being the country who gets this territory from Germany after Germany was basically stripped of most of its territories. Most of its like occupied territories. But so yeah, this is Kaliningrad, and Kaliningrad is not connected to Russia's mainland, and it's situated between Poland and Lithuania. So this is where the Polish are going to deploy the new K2 tanks. Hi, Berdyansk. Good to see you. As the resident German here, I will give Königsberg to the Polish people. I mean, I don't know if anybody really wants that land if it comes with the Russian people who live there, you know? NATO Secretary General Stoltenberg said that he fears the possibility of expanding the war in Ukraine to a major war between the alliance and Russia, but believes that this can be avoided. So this was like a pretty long speech by Stoltenberg, and I will actually address that tomorrow because I do want to go over the whole thing, and I want to go over all of his points, and I want to kind of talk about them in detail because Normally, Stoltenberg is so incredibly pro-Ukrainian, and he's so firm in his sentiment too. And this was the interesting sort of, this speech felt a little different, and I kind of want to read you the whole speech, and I want to go over it in detail and explain to you why I think that speech felt different. So we're going to do that on the newscast tomorrow. So stay tuned. Ukraine can help Russian regions with referendums on secession from Russia. Ukraine can help with the holding of electronic referendums in certain territories of Russia, which may claim to secede from the Russian Federation, said MP Oleg Dunda during the Forum of Free Peoples of Russia, which is held in Sweden. Some regions, as noted by Dunda, have already held their referendums of self-determination in the 90s. But the will of these peoples was leveled by Moscow. The Chechen Republic of Ichkeria, the Republic of Tatarstan, the Republic of Bashkiria, the Republic of Kalmykia, the Republic of Buryatia. Now these nations also have the right to secede from the Russian Federation. Basically, this is a very difficult one because, Ukraine, we should not mix ourselves into this. But personally, I think that if Russia falls apart in smaller republics, it's going to benefit the minorities in Russia, of course, because they're going to be able to self-govern and they're not going to discriminate against themselves, and they're not going to feel like second, third, 14th class citizens in their own country. But also it's going to benefit the Russian people because they're not going to have that complex of superiority over, the complex of superiority that they have over like the non-white Russians. But at the same time, like, I think it's for them to decide. And if they ask for help from Ukraine, we may provide it. But I also wouldn't say that I wouldn't like just come out with the statement and say, oh, Ukraine can help you, because I don't want to mix that in with our succession to Europe. And realistically, all of these republics in the 90s, when the Soviet Union collapsed, they chose to secede and they wanted to be independent. But Russia just bulldozed all over it and obviously didn't let them do that, because also most of Russia's resources are in the republics, not in Moscow and St. Petersburg. Also, can someone please block that lovely person, Ramustra, that person? Could you please? Thank you. The number of Russian mobilized servicemen has increased in the Belarusian cities of Mozyr, Gomel, and Mogilev, reports the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. So yeah, I mean, Russia is trying to throw some of their forces into Belarus, and it does look like they are trying to distract. It does look like they're trying to make it seem like they're preparing an attack, but as we all know, Belarus is not really likely to join in. Is very, very not likely to join in. Okay, so let's recap from Kyiv Independent, which is what we do at the end of every newscast. Also, if you're a new follower, please follow me on YouTube as well. It's the same handle as that on TikTok, but without it's. So just Yulia, it's YEWLEEA. And I do have a YouTube. On YouTube, all of my news streams are saved, so you can rewatch them whenever you want, or watch them if you missed them. There are also twice weekly segments called Ukraine News Briefly, where I summarize everything that happened by Wednesday and then everything that happened by Sunday, and also detailed news over the past 24 hours in under 20 minutes. I have interviews with Ukrainian defenders, particularly those of the regiment Azov, dubbed with English voiceover, and there are also new segments and new interviews coming out on the channel soon. So if you don't follow me on YouTube, please, 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 please do. Okay. General Staff says Ukrainian military strikes 8 Russian control points and 2 ammunition depots. Russia attacks 8 Ukrainian regions over the past day, killing 5 people. Russia's losses as of December 9th amount to 93,390 soldiers. Wall Street Journal says US to announce new sanctions against Russia on December 9th. UK Defense Ministry says Russia likely started using new batch of Iranian drones in Ukraine. Russia has likely exhausted its previous stock of several hundred Shahed 131s and 136 and has now received a resupply. as Ukraine's general staff reported attacks by Iranian drones for the first time in 3 weeks on December 6th, according to the UK Defense Ministry. So on Twitch, there is a troll, and the troll just said that I look like a nice little Republican, and I find it so funny because you consider, I love that the troll wants to insult me, and the insult is that I'm a Republican. Just, have that sink in for a second. Have that sink in, okay? Also, thank you so much, Karine. Oh my gosh, you guys are so sweet. She has, oh my gosh, Grumpy says she has a university education in all her teeth, so not likely I am dead. Grumpy, you know what? I'm just gonna put that on here. Not that I consider, okay, well, I would say that Trump licens is what is described here. But at the same time, like, it's just really funny. So I'm just going to put it on the screen there so you guys can see it. I found it hilarious. That is a pretty good insult, Grumpy. It's funny. Anyways, the National Antarctic Scientific Center of Ukraine announced that the first baby penguin was born on the Galandes Island this season on December 9th. The center said that they expect hundreds of baby penguins to be born on the island soon. The center said, Photo National Antarctic Scientific Center of Ukraine. Oh my gosh, okay, I'm about to send you, oh my gosh, another person on TikTok is like, congratulations, leftist. You voted for where we are now. Well, actually, I voted for, I voted in Ukraine because I'm not allowed to vote in the US because I'm not a citizen. But also, I prefer where we are now versus where we were 2016 to 2022. Just FYI. Or to 2020, sorry. So this is 2016 to 2020. Sorry. So there we go. And also, yeah, kind of 2022 because, the new administration had to dig through all of the garbage brought by the previous administration. But baby penguins. Unemployment is not actually record low. Just FYI. Unemployment was record low during COVID, and unemployment, you know what? Yeah, I'm not even gonna argue with this person because they don't even know what they're talking about, and I don't feel like doing this an hour and 30 minutes into the stream. UK sanctions 5 Russian human rights violators and abusers. All individuals are subject to assets freezing and a ban on entry into the UK. And yes, penguins. I'm obsessed with this. I'm sorry. It's a baby penguin that just came out of its shell. Okay. Canada imposes new sanctions against Russia. Canada has introduced sanctions against 33 current and former Russian top officials and 6 companies allegedly responsible for systematic human rights violations against Russian citizens opposing Moscow's war, Reuters reported. Minsk and Moscow signed a rushed classified protocol on regional security, and that is an article that I'm going to put in the description of this video so you guys can read it if you'd like to later, because you know that I would like for you to have some reading materials if you want to expand, when I'm done with the news stream so you don't miss me too much. I am kidding because it would take a very long time to read a whole article. Foreign Ministry says Germans receive fake letters from Ukrainian consulate. Basically, it's a super fake looking letter. We went over it earlier, and it's asking German citizens to join the Foreign Legion in Ukraine. And it's allegedly from the Ukrainian consulate, but it's very visible that letter is fake. Erdogan announces new talks with Zelensky and Putin. Energoatom says Russian troops assault Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant's staff. Russian forces severely beat 2 top managers of the plant and detained another one, according to Ukraine's state nuclear regulator. Explosions were reported in occupied Donetsk on December 9th. Germany to supply Ukraine with 18 howitzers, other military equipment. We pushed and they collapsed. How Ukraine liberated Kharkiv Oblast. I'm going to include that one because it's an article as well into the description of this news stream, and you can find it easily right under. Both of these are from Kyiv Independent, and you can find them easily right under the information about the stream. So right in the description. UN rights chief says Ukraine is human rights emergency. About 17.7 million Ukrainians need humanitarian help because of Russia's all-out war against the country, including 9.3 million who require food and livelihood assistance. United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights Volker Turk said on December 9th. Bulgaria will send its military aid to Ukraine, mainly light weaponry and ammo. This is significant because before Bulgaria was only offering to repair some of the Ukrainian equipment, but wasn't giving Ukraine anything, and now they are. Ukrenergo says Ukraine will face energy deficit throughout the winter. Yes, we talked about it a couple of days ago, where we are not going to be able to restore our power system through the winter. Hi, Eric. Ukraine's economy shrank by 30.8% in third quarter of 2022, according to State Statistics Service. Biden administration approves $275 million security assistance package for Ukraine. Officials say over 13,000 Ukrainian children illegally deported to Russia. UK Prime Minister announces more military aid for Ukraine. General Staff says Russian troops attempting to advance in Donetsk Oblast. Russian forces are continuing their efforts to conduct an offensive in the Bakhmut direction while trying to improve their tactical positions in the Liman and Avdiivka directions in Donetsk Oblast. The General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces reported in its daily update on December 9th. Once home to 70,000 people, the salt mining city of Bakhmut has become the center of a key battle in the east of Ukraine in August. We've seen this. Bakhmut is quite literally hell on earth. And I have a news brief on YouTube about Bakhmut if you're curious to see it. Please do. Zelensky says Russian troops have effectively destroyed Bakhmut. President Volodymyr Zelensky said in his evening address that heavy fighting is ongoing near the towns of Bakhmut, Soledar, Mariinka, and Kreminna in the Donbass in the east of Ukraine. There is no place left in these areas undamaged by shells and fire. The occupiers have effectively destroyed Bakhmut, another Donbass city that the Russian army turned into burned ruins. Basically the same as they did with Mariupol. Okay. U.S. sanctions Ukraine's most notorious judge charged with corruption. The U.S. Department of State on December 9th sanctioned Pavlo Vovk, head of Ukraine's Kyiv District Administrative Court, to commemorate International Anti-Corruption Day. Vovk has become a symbol of injustice, lawlessness, and impunity in Ukraine. Cases against him have been blocked and sabotaged by prosecutors, investigators, and courts for several years. In December 2021, the Kyiv Independent urged the U.S. to sanction two key individuals charged in corruption cases, Vovk and Oleg Tatarov. So that's interesting. This is... Basically, there is an incredibly corrupt judge that has been getting away with corruption because, you know, certain things of corruption are hard to eliminate, and so he has finally been sanctioned by the U.S. Russia detains 10,000 men of conscription age in Moscow. Men were grabbed right on the street and even at work. Russia's independent human rights group Memorial reported on December 9th. The police took off their identification badges and did not identify themselves, the report reads. They, detained men, are still kept in the military registration and enlistment office. Relatives of one of the detainees told our lawyers that they used force against him and forced him to undergo a medical examination. Now there is no contact with any men, Memorial said. Governor says Russian troops launch missile strikes on Sumy Oblast shell border settlements. G7 calls for selection of constitutional court judges with crucial role for independent experts. G7 ambassadors commented on a bill of the selection of Ukrainian constitutional court judges that is expected to be considered by the Verkhovna Rada next week. The adoption of a new selection procedure is necessary for appointments. It is important that the DL 7662 allows for meaningful involvement of independent experts, including a casting vote, the ambassador said on Twitter. Legal experts, including think tank De Jour, have argued that the current version of the bill does not involve independent experts and will effectively give President Volodymyr Zelensky full control of the Constitutional Court. It's kind of strange because Constitutional Court of Ukraine should be appointed by the Ukrainian government, not by the G7, but oh well, we are not even in the G7, neither are we in Europe yet, so they want to have full control, yet they don't want to grant us membership. So yeah. Alrighty, so this is all I have for you for today. I do think that it's good for Europe to get involved, and I think that the more they get involved, the more it shows that they're seriously preparing for accepting Ukraine into the European Union. So yeah. So basically, it's kind of nice to see in a way too. Well, thank you guys for watching, and let me know if you have any questions or suggestions or anything like that. I am very, very grateful to you for having sat through the entire newscast. And if you don't follow me on YouTube, just a reminder, please follow me. There is a lot of good content there, and some of it is much shorter and, made for your convenience. And also there are interviews with Ukrainian defenders and more coming. All of it is dubbed with English subtitles or with English voiceover. So you can listen to it on the go instead of having to read subtitles. And thank you so much for being here. Someone's asking, how was my husband's birthday? For this birthday, he quite literally says, he quite literally asked this year that he wants to be left alone by everyone. He wants to turn off his phone and he wants to reflect on the past 28 years of his life. So I am, so that's what's been going on. And I hope, yes, it is. My YouTube handle is Yulia on YouTube. But so basically I'm going to be doing, he doesn't like celebrating birthdays to begin with. We never celebrate his birthday. It's not his thing. We've celebrated maybe like once, and it wasn't like particularly on his birthday, and it was just sort of like at our friend's house. Thank you so much, Netlin. So, this year he likes to reflect. He's a very like introspective person, so this is kind of how he likes to spend his birthdays. I did, I'm gonna give him a gift next day. So, and I'm still debating whether I want to do a surprise or not on Sunday, because it depends. But I'm not going to talk about it, because on the off chance that he does watch my channel, which I doubt, because he edits my videos. So I doubt he wants to look at me speak ever again when he does not need to. But Armin's quote of the day is up. So let me read that before I go. And Hacker Spawn, I love that. I love that you know how Ukrainian documents look, and you would not fall for Russian propaganda. But also anybody who has eyes shouldn't fall for Russian propaganda, because it looks quite awful and their design skills are inexistent. And I say that as a designer. Okay, the true soldier fights not because he hates what is in front of him, but because he loves what is behind him. Gilbert Keith Chesterton, love is ever strong. The tyrant and his conscripts will lose. Yeah, I agree with that. That's what I always say, that Ukraine fights for our people and for our freedom. Russia fights God knows for what. Russia's entire offensive is built on hate. Ukraine's entire defensive is built on love. Okay, so thank you for this quote. I really do love it. I really appreciate quotes. And also, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you everybody for all of your super chats and super stickers and and liking and tapping and all of your gifts and subscriptions and just comments and likes and chats. And I really enjoy talking to you guys, and thank you so very much for being here with me for the past 9 months of this war and for still continuing to support Ukraine. You have no idea how much it means for me and for my people. Thank you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Bye. Героям слава!